Wow, what a fight. That was a great fight. Let's talk about it. So Artur Beterbiev retains his titles, defeating Anthony Yarde in a fantastic prize fight. That was really a magnificent fight. I really enjoyed it. I've watched it a few times. Shout out to anybody that watched that and enjoyed that. I hope everyone is doing well. Shout out to all the subscribers. Big up anybody new. Let's talk about the fight. That was tremendous. Alright, so Anthony Yarde looking cool. He's been cool, collected all week. He looked relaxed. The bell goes, Beterbiev puts him straight on the back foot, and Yarde appears to be very jittery, you know, using a lot of energy and feints and movement. And straight away you're just thinking, wow. And even, Ward mentioned it on the commentary. He's like, there's a lot of movement going on there. And then he's like, his eyes were lighting up a little bit like this, It's like, Joe, I know it's not easy and it's hindsight's 2020, but, you got to try to do your best to just relax a bit more, because you are burning energy. And it's just like, but he had a good first round and he was catching Beeterbiev with the check hook. We're going to talk about that left hook because I spoke a bit about that, and I want to talk and give you some highlights as to, it's his moment to defend himself in that time when you need your zone not to be breached. That's what I'm talking about, where his left hook let him down, and I'll show you some footage a bit later. Stick around for that. But he had a good first round, and I was hoping in the corner, when he went back to his corner, Tunde would be like, bro, you're doing really well. You got to relax a bit more though. Just relax a bit more. Drill that in. Really, like, listen, bro, relax. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'll get onto the game plan in a sec. Keep doing what you're doing, because their game plan was to move a little bit. Tunde said that in the first round. It was going well. They wanted to keep him moving, using lateral movement and catch him with that check hook, which they were. You could argue he might have even been hurt in that first round, and he hurt him again later. But it wasn't enough. But yeah, but you look at that opening round, you're like, okay, good round, but he can't keep that up. There's no way. Beterbiev, in the second round, I mean, look, he was putting a lot of pressure on, and Yarde was still burning a lot of energy. But that was a great fight in terms of, there was a lot of exchanges. That I think both guys went to a place they hadn't been before, to be honest with you. I definitely, Yarde hadn't been to I know he got knocked out against Kovalev, but he got beaten on a couple of times in the corner when Beterbiev was taking apart that high guard and just launching those shots in uppercuts, shots to the body, uppercuts. Whew, that was a brutal fight. And Beterbiev had to dig deep too. He was taking a lot of there were times where he could have capitalized, but I think he took his foot off the gas. I'm not sure where. Sophisticated brawling, really. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he was biding his time. I think he understood that Yarde's energy bar was going down faster than his, and they were both hurting each other, but I don't think Yarde was hurting him significantly enough to A, keep him off him, but B, deter him from coming in. And by the third round or fourth round, Yarde's pace started to slow. He started to his footwork started to slow a little bit, and he was slowing down to a degree, but the look on his face was more intense, and again, they were just trading. But I think it was in the fourth round where, once the exchanges started to happen, and there was actually an exchange where Yarde tried to land a left hook, either missed and came off balance with it. Beterbiev came in with the right hand to the body. That's what started the attack. That's what starts the penetration. The left hook wasn't there to keep him off him. And then when the exchanges happened, that's only going to favor Beterbiev. Not necessarily because he was going to do more damage, which I think he did, just in terms of a stamina thing. 50-50s like that. Yarde is fighting more frantically. Alright, he's just more jittery, and he's thinking harder. Beterbiev is more relaxed, although 50-50s, there was a savage 50-50 exchange when it first started going. I love 50-50s, it's amazing. But that's not going to favour Yarde. And he was definitely, there were times, his clinch game could have been better when he's on the ropes, and honestly, I think Tunde, the game plan like, when you have somebody like Beterbiev who's awesome at picking apart high guards and getting you on the ropes and just letting his hands go. There was one time I think Yarde like had a Philly shell and then ducked down and clinched. All right, that was it. But other than that, his clinch game and his ability to shut the gap and let Beterbiev get off. Beterbiev was just able to get off in those corners, and he was doing some damage, especially with those uppercuts. And I just don't think that they drilled that, and I don't think they really did their homework on how good Beterbiev is at dismantling a high guard or taking your opponent apart. Don't let him do it. I know it's easier said than done, but the minute he gets close to doing it, or you just shut him down, step in, grab him, do whatever you have to do, turn him, just stop him from punching, you know. And I just think that those moments there were really damaging for Yarde. It was always going to come off second best in those, and it was a thing of beauty to watch Beterbiev let his hands go like that so quickly, accurately, and hard, and just, you know, precision. It was awesome. And I think that was the end of the fourth. And then you started to think, well, I was thinking, man, this is looking pretty rough for Yarde, but he's a warrior, you know. He got a second wind. And then, he, you know, it was ebbs and flows too, for sure. And, you know, the minute he was on the front foot, I think you limit Beterbiev to a degree. So that for me, and I said it pre-fight, would have liked to see him on pushing Beterbiev back as best as he can. And even that's a brutal tactic. But, like, you've got to fight this dude at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And he did try a couple times. But, you know, when you start backpedaling, and then you start finding yourself in the corner and you start getting to exchanges. I never thought after the third round that Yarde was going to catch him anymore. You know, he did land a couple of grazing uppercuts, but I had him. I was like, I don't think he's moving too much to be able to set his feet. And, you know, he's just fighting too frantically, and his power his energy bar was dropping. So's was Beterbiev's, you know. It was a tremendous fight. Really enjoyed that. Beautiful fight. But yeah, let me talk about this left hook. So my point was, I said he had a good left hook, and he did, and he was catching him, and he definitely hurt him a few times in that check hook, you know. But my point was, it's not enough to deter somebody like Beterbiev. And when he's closing the distance and he's breathing on you, basically ready to pounce on you, there's the mid-range, Yarde's mid-range hook. He was throwing a lot of armbar hooks like this, right? Catching Beterbiev with the side here. That's not gonna stop somebody like Beterbiev. I'll show you the footage. You know, he was able to get in. It's like having a castle without any archers. You know what I mean? It's like, but again, there were moments he had success with the left hook, but then right at the end of the fight, how the fight ended, when he got caught countering, he got caught trying to throw an uppercut, got caught with a counter right hand, sneaky right hand. We spoke about that pre-fight. I was like, that is Beterbiev's best punch, and he was catching Yarde quite a bit with it, and that countered it. And then Yarde had an opportunity to throw a left hook, and I know he was hurt, and then he flapped with the left hook again, and you know, Beterbiev was in on him again. But look, great fight. I stand on what I meant about the left hook, and there's some improvements there. You know, he needs to shorten it up and get tighter with it, and try to connect on this part of the arm where all the power travels through the bones here, and not these flapping wide pouring hooks. You know, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Look, where do these dudes go? Anthony Yarde's stock will have risen, no question about that. When you fight gallantly, there is a way to become out, you know, a victor when you lose, and this is one of them. And his stock will have gone up, and he'll be. I would favour him to win all the domestic fights. To be honest, he put a hell of a performance in, and he can, you know, put his head up in with some pride and dignity, because it's not easy to fight somebody like Beterbiev at all. That was a very tough fight for both men. And Beterbiev will have been glad that was over, to be honest with you. You know, you can kind of tell, relieved, let me say. You know, he was definitely, okay, that was a hard fight. This kid can punch. He's game. You know, he's got skills. And, you know, Beterbiev had to work really hard to get that. Great fight. That's a great fight. So let me know what you guys think, you know. in the early rounds? Did you think Yarde was going to be able to pull something out? I know there was a moment he landed a couple of uppercuts, but they weren't like the hardest shots. You know, he didn't land the super clean hard shots. But then again, you know, Beterbiev, he's tricky. He's a tricky customer. But what does Beterbiev do now? I'm going to make a separate video about this, about the undisputed fight against Bivol. We really want to see that. I mean, that is an absolutely tremendous fight. And like I said, in terms of Yarde, give Boatsi, Callum Smith, you know, he needs to stay similar, close to this level. Don't drop back down to C and D. You've had all those fights before. He's ready, you know, he's ready for these, to win these. He'll be favored. I would favor him. And, you know, I wish him the best of luck. I do wish him well. He's great for the sport. He's a great young kid with a lot of heart. He's going to inspire a lot of kids and get a lot of people eyes on the sport in the gym. And that's very important and a great thing. So that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the fight. Like I said, leave a comment, hit the like button if you really enjoyed the video. I'm going to put a couple more videos out today. I'm going to touch on that Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight, that shenanigans or handbags at the press in the ring when there. That was funny. But and then I'm going to do an undisputed separate video on that. We'll talk about that. But that's it from me. Boxing on the Edge. Take care of yourself.